Hi, today is February 13th, 2025, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 240 for the year, General Consensus. There is an iconic photograph of Johnny Cash holding his middle finger up as he stares into the camera. It was taken by Jim Marshall at San Quentin Prison, where Johnny was about to perform A Boy Named Sue and several other songs. There is some dispute as to who Johnny Cash was telling to fuck up. The general consensus is that he was telling Jim Marshall to fuck off. But Marshall, perhaps self-servingly, claims that he suggested that Johnny pose for a shot for the warden, and that's what Cash came up with. I think I'm going to go with the general consensus. Poem number 241, Speaking of Johnny Cash, I'm singing a song of his this coming Saturday at the Bowery Electric. Speaking of A Boy Named Sue, that is the song I'm going to sing. Speaking of speaking, I'll be doing a reading at Von Bar on Bleecker Street the following evening. Speaking of which, I ought to try and figure out which poems from this week I'll be reading at that reading. Perhaps I'll do all 5 of yesterday's, which, it just occurred to me, could be collectively called the television set. Poem number 242. 3 Flintstones-related things that didn't actually happen. 1. I would go to Joe's house, and instead of rehearsing, we had a band called the Purple Sunshine, we would get stoned and watch the Flintstones. We called this getting Flintstoned. 2. Joe and I often fought over one of the lines in the Flintstones theme. Joe believed the line was, "Through the courtesy of Fred's 2 feet," and I thought that couldn't be right, but I recently looked it up, and it is right. 3. I once had a toy dinosaur that I believed at the time was Dino from the Flintstones. I realize now it was actually the dinosaur from Sinclair Gas. I recently looked it up and learned that the dinosaur from Sinclair Gas was also named Dino. Poem number 243. Another thing that I am grateful for. I once was told that it is good to live a life filled with gratitude. I made it my mission every day to come up with things that I am grateful for. Today it occurred to me that I am lucky that none of my fingers or my toes or my cock have ever fallen off my body and then down a sewer grate. You sometimes see in movies people sticking some chewed up gum to the end of a string and running it down the sewer to attempt to retrieve a lost object. But I've never seen anyone do this successfully in real life. So I believe that if any of my appendages were to go down a sewer grate, it would be gone forever. So the fact that this has never happened to me is another thing that I am grateful for. And the last poem of the day, poem number 244, it's a haiku, White Sky. White sky like a scream that reaches into your chest and pulls out your heart. I don't know. The sky was white, so there you go. Anyway, I appreciate you. Maybe you'll come to one of my shows this weekend. If not, I'll appreciate you in some other way.